Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to do like a star coaster. You could actually do them bigger if you want, so just on each round you would actually go out. I'll explain as I go along. At the corner and the little edges of this one I actually did picots on the top. Now it would be absolutely beautiful if you did the colour changing on it, and if you use cotton, because cotton you can wash it obviously with a coaster. If you're using a double knit that's acrylic or anything like that, you can wash them, but the cotton is actually much better. I'm just using I think it's a James Brett yarn here at the moment. It's not cotton, but I just wanted to show it to you for this tutorial. So I'm going to start with, I'm using a 4mm crochet hook. I have my scissors and I have my double knit yarn. So I'm going to start with a magic ring. So what I do is I hold the yarn in between my fingers, wrap it around, catch it, and then with my little finger I actually just hold it a little bit there, just to hold it in place. Now I don't squeeze it, I'm just holding it in place. I put my needle underneath the first piece of yarn, pull down the one that's at the back, twist my hook and go back underneath the one that at the top, and then pull it through. So that's how I start off my magic circle or my magic ring. And then what I'm going to do now is start to do I have one chain done there, so I'm going to do 2 more chain. So this one is not going to be counted, so I'm going to do 13 including this. So this is the first one, okay? So you're going to do 12 more 12 trebles. So it's yarn over into your circle, yarn over, bring it through, yarn over, bring it through 2, yarn over, bring it through 2. So that's yarn over into your circle, yarn over, bring it through, yarn over, bring it through 2, yarn over, bring it through 2. So now you can see you have your 2 trebles done there. So we're going to continue on, yarn over into your circle, yarn over, bring it through, yarn over, bring it through 2, yarn over, bring it through 2. So we have 3. So I'm going to do it slowly. 4, 5. As you can see, I'm actually holding the work that I'm working on here. I'm actually holding that with this hand while I put the yarn over my hook, and then I move my hand slightly to hold on to the circle, the magic ring, and then bring it through, and then you can work holding it. It's actually firmer. Now you can move, don't worry about if they're spaced out like this, because at the end you're going to be closing it all together. So it's actually a good way anyway to see how you're getting on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 8, 9, 10, 11, this should be 12. Just let me check again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. Now as you can see, don't worry about it if you pull it out like this, okay? Because what you're going to do now is you're going to grab the tail and you're going to pull the tail tight. Give it a good little pull at the very end there. And now you can see it has closed over. So into the top, that was the one that the first one that you did at the 3 chain. So I'm going to go in through both of it here. You can see the top of the chain. I'm going to put my yarn over, bring it through and slip it. That's the slip stitch. So now you can see it's closed and there's no gaps. So we're going to do our 3 chain up again. And in this one, we're going to work into the same one here, and we're going to do 2 trebles into the top of each chain. So you can see the top of your chain there. So you're going to do 2 trebles into each one of these. Now in the first one, you would have seen I did the 3 chain, and then I did 2 trebles into it because the first 3 chain is not being counted. Okay, so for this round it's 2 trebles into the top of each chain. So we're going to work that around. Sorry, I just want to get a bit of wool here. 2. So you can see you have your top of your treble. So you're going to do your first one, your second one, into the next one. You're going to do your treble, 2 trebles into that one, into the next one. You do 2 trebles, into the top of the next one, your 2 trebles, and continue this all the way around. Just checking there, I thought I have it done, sorry. Till you get to the 3 chain space. So we're nearly there. So you should have, including the 3 chain, you should have 25. So I'm going to just count these now, just roughly. Just pull my yarn up with this, just with my hook. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, and there's your 3 chain, which we're not going to count as our stitch. This is literally just for joining it together. So we're going to go into the top of it here, yarn over, bring it through, and bring it to the next one. So that's closing it. So that's like your slip stitch. So you can see the gap. You don't have much of a gap there at all. So for the next round, you're going to do your 3 chain up again, and into this space you're going to do 2 trebles, 1, 2. Into the next chain you only do 1 treble. Into the next one you do 2, 1, 2. Into the next one we do 1. Into the next one we do 2. So we're going to alternate all the way around our circle. So we've 2 there, so we've 1 into this one, 2 into the next one, 1 into the next one, 2 into the next one, 1 into the next one, oops, 2 into the next one, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1. So pull our hook, our wool up through our hook, and we're going to count these. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, and this one is 35. So we've increased 10 on the last 2 rows. So we are going to close this one. As you can see on this, we've done 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're going to slip stitch into the top of our 3 chain here we had before. Okay, so on this we're going to do 1 chain and into the same space here, into the same chain, sorry, 1 chain and into the same one we're going to do a slip stitch. Okay, So now we're going to skip one and we're going to do 2 trebles into the same chain space. That's 1, 2. On the third one, on the third treble, when we do our third treble, we're going to count up 3 chain after we do the treble. So 1, 2, 3, and then into the top of the first chain, we are going to do a slip stitch. And then we are going to do 2 trebles. 1, 2. Then we're going to skip one and we're going to do a slip stitch into this one. Now, this one here, as you can see, I did the slip stitch into the third chain. If you don't want a gap here, I'll show you what you can do. When you do your 3 chain, I'll just show you here. So that would be your 2 trebles, that you've the 2 trebles, and then this is the third one you're going to do your picot. So you do 1, 2, 3. If you don't want a gap, what you do is you go into the top of your treble. So you're going in here and you're going to slip stitch into those. Now with that, you get the loop, but you don't actually get a gap when you do your next 2 trebles. That's 1, 2. So you see you've no gap here. So what I'll do is I'll do a no gap, a gap, a no gap, so you can actually figure out, or you can see which one you'd prefer to do yourself. So we're going to skip this one. We're going to do a slip stitch into this one. Then we're going to skip our next treble and we're going to go into the next one and we're going to go 2 trebles, 2. On the third treble, when we do our middle treble, we are going to do our 3 chain up, 1, 2, 3. With this one, I'm going to count back the third one and I'll do the slip stitch into the top of the third one. This will be the one that will have the gap in it, and you'll see it now when I do the 2 trebles. 1, 2. So you're going to skip one and you're going to slip stitch into the next one. So slip stitch is put your hook in, yarn over, bring it through and bring it through this one. Okay, so then we're going to skip this one and we're going to do our 3 trebles into this next top of our next treble. 1, 2, 3. Do our 3 chain up, 1, 2, 3. This is the one that's not going to have a gap, so we're going to go into the top of this one and into the top of this. So we're going to bring it through, yarn over and bring it through both of them. And now we're going to do 2 more trebles into the same chain space in the top of the same chain. So we're going to skip the next one and we're going to slip stitch into the next one. So you can see now you have no gap, gap, no gap. So the next one is going to be a gap. So skip this and in here you're going to do your 3 trebles, 1, 2, all into the same chain space, 3, and this one's going to be the gap one, 1, 2, 3. So we're going to count back 3, 1, 2, 3, and into this one we're going to do the slip stitch. So you're doing the slip stitch into the chain if you want to have a little gap. So we're going to go back into the same space and we're going to continue with 2 trebles, 1, 2. Skip this one, into the next one you do your slip stitch. Oops, look, my wool's out again. Knotted here. Okay, so the next one is going to have no gap in it. So we're going to skip this one and into here. These would be absolutely beautiful at Christmas if you wanted to do them in Christmas colours. And if you did them in cotton, amazing. You can also get yarn that has, this one has a little bit of a sparkle in it. I don't know whether you can see the sparkle on it or not in this. There is a twinkle, it's a twinkly wool, which would be gorgeous for Christmas as well. So this one has no gap. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3. And we're going to go into the top of the 2 here. So you can see that's the 2 trebles that's the first, second and third. So you're going into the top of the second treble and the third treble together. yarn over, and you're going to bring it through the 2. And then you're going to do 2 more trebles into the same chain space. So you're doing 5 trebles altogether, and on the 3rd one is when you do your picot. A lot of people would find picots quite difficult to do, but they're actually really simple. Now, depending on what size picot you want to do, you could have one that has quite a big loop in it. Then you would just do 4 or 5 chains up and go back into the first one. So now we're going to skip the next one, and in here we're going to do our slip stitch. So yarn over and skip 1 into here, and we're going to do our 3 trebles into the same space, the top of the treble. We're going to do 3 chain up, and for this one it's going to be the gap. So we're going to go in here, the top of our 3 chain, and we're going to do 2 more trebles into the same chain space. 1, 2. Skip this and into the next one. Yarn over into the next one. So we have 1, 2, 3 chain up, and we're going to close this one over. So we're going into the 2nd treble and the 3rd treble, and we're going to go through the 2. This will show that you don't have the gap. It's not as noticeable. So you can see now, you can see the gap, no gap, no gap, gap, no gap, gap, no gap. So that'll actually just give you the idea of which one you could have a look at and see which one you'd actually prefer to do. I really like the one that has the no gap if I'm doing a baby blanket. Now, mostly if you're going to do these at the top, if you do them in odd numbers, it's much better. So say 5, 7, 9, depending on your wool, depending on the size that you want to do, depending on how big you would like the fan to be. But for this particular pattern, I'm just doing 5. Skip 1 into the next one. 1, 2, 3. Now that had no gap, so this is going to be the gap one. So 1, 2, 3, and we are going to go into the top of the 3rd chain. So that's 1, 2, 3. So we're going into the chain, and we're just going to yarn over and slip stitch it. So that's an actual picot. Then 2 trebles into the same chain space. We're going to skip the next one and do our slip stitch into the next, and then we're going to count skip next one, and we're going to go in here, and we are going to do 3 more trebles. 1, 2, 3. We're going to do our no gap 1, 2, 3. We're going to slip stitch into the 2, and we're going to do 2 more. 1, 2, and then we're going to go into our 1 chain space that we did earlier on, and we're going to do 2 chain up. I always do 2 chain at the end of all of my work. Get my scissors, cut, if it'll cut, pull it through, and there you go. Now I know my I don't have an odd and an even here because I should have really done, I just was doing the no gap and the gap just to show you. It wouldn't have made any difference if it was all the one, if you were decided to do all of the closed picots or the sort of the open picots. But it's very simple, really, really simple. And then when you're finished, just pull your yarn very tight, get your darning needle. I love these darning needles. Get your darning needle, fold your wool over in half, bend it in half. It's much easier to go through your darning needle then. And if you look at where the wool is coming out here, say the wool's coming out here, so go back in through where you would have had your when you made your magic circle. So make sure that the wool your needle isn't coming through on the other side. So just pull that through, make sure you have on this side, and then go back in. See the one that's coming out here? So skip that one and go back in through your work the opposite way, and then do it again. And this will secure your work enough that you can actually get your scissors, cut it, and there you go. Now, with this other piece that's here, you can do the same with that. You can work this one in as well. So what I have a tendency to do is I turn my work upside down, and then I go in here, anywhere that you see that you have the gap, turn your work and work it around your stitches. Work it around your stitches and try and go in through your trebles that you had, making sure that your needle is actually, the work isn't coming through. Pull it a little bit, don't pull it too tight because you don't want it to be scrunched like this, just enough that you can work around it. And do the same thing, go back in through your trebles. See the way you can't see the needle there. Hold it and then just do it once more. It's literally just to secure it for yourself, so you know it's not going to actually rip on you. So then just get your scissors, cut right down to the very edge, and then there you go. You can see the difference in the different yarns. This one is a twinkly and it's a little bit thicker, even though it's a double knit as well. It's a little bit thicker than this one. Both of them, you can see. But if you did do this in a cotton and you used different colours, like Christmas colours, or if you used a wool that has a little bit of a twinkle in it and cotton, absolutely beautiful. Fabulous present to do. And as I say, if you wanted to do it as a coaster, every round you go out, you just go 10 more. So on this one we did, I think it was 1 treble and then 2 into the next one. So on the next round you would have done 1 treble, 1 treble, and then 2 trebles. 1 treble, 1 treble, and 2 trebles. So each round you're going up in 10s. So I hope you like this video. Please subscribe and share. I get a great buzz out of people watching and putting down comments. I hope you can hear this video. I've tried to change the speaker. So until the next time, take care. Bye.